Oh. I don't have a way to turn you on. I don't see your mic come up here.
Mine's the only one that works.
Oh, and there's Holly. Over mine?
No? Can you use Commissioner Sibley's? Okay, well that's not working either. Huh. No, it just keeps popping off. This one worked. Of course, there's nobody sitting here.
I'll talk loud.
Okay.
Chairman Lane,
Here.
Commissioner Sibley,
Here.
Commissioner Fenster,
Here.
Commissioner Norton,
Here.
Commissioner Jacoby,
Here.
Commissioner Barnard,
Here.
Councilmember Peck. Here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have a full house. Next order of business is approval of the April 4 minutes. Do any commissioners have any corrections or comments on those minutes? No? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A second.
Okay, so motion to approve the minutes of April 4th by Commissioner Fenster and seconded by Commissioner Sibley. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. The minutes are approved. Report from the chair. The only thing I have to report is that they were correctly identified. It was correctly identified in the minutes that I said last time that I wasn't going to be here tonight, which is obviously false. So I'm making that correction now as in the report to the chair. I will, however, not be at next month's meeting, so.
I will be more on time.
And we can chat afterwards if you like, just for a minute or two of prep if you so desire. All right. I did note that council did pass a resolution Tuesday night, as we expected. And thank you for Commissioners Sibley and Barnard for being in attendance at the meeting and saw the photograph. So appreciate that. That May is Historic Preservation Month. Okay, communications from HBC staff liaison.
It's mine.
Okay.
Okay, apparently we're having all manner of
Yeah,
technical issues
it's
right
working.
now. Let me see if this works. Yeah, but that one is not working either.
Yeah, they're all, this one was working when we tested it a minute ago, and it's not working now.
Haha, we have it. Okay, I think that is the magic. Good evening, members of the commission. So we are having some technical issues in council chambers that they're working on resolving, so I won't be using a PowerPoint this evening. Maria, I know, has pulled up the commission packet on your screen, so I will be referring to that. As Commissioner Lane mentioned, we did have a proclamation this week at City Council for Archaeological and Historic Preservation Month. So I am going to pass the official proclamation down, and it can make its way to Maria, and she will keep it in the archives. So. All right. Sure, we can scan that and get it to everyone. Just making a note to myself real quick. All right, so one other housekeeping item. Well, so first and foremost, at the council proclamation on April 30th, I would like to thank Commissioners Barnard and Sibley for attending. They did a great job of representing the commission. Another housekeeping item is that our July meeting does fall on July 4th, and Maria has looked at other possible dates in the council chambers that might be available. We aren't finding anything currently that would be available for a reschedule, so probably need to consider canceling the July 4th meeting as opposed to rescheduling it, just from a logistics standpoint, but I will obviously defer to the commission on that item. A few other updates here. Staff provided an overview of the requested conservation overlay zoning for Historic Eastside Neighborhood Association at the April 23rd meeting, specifically to discuss really what the purpose, process, and what the purpose and process for a conservation overlay would be, and also to discuss the requested fee waiver by HENA. So we still have some additional work to do. It's not just as simple as city council or someone saying we therefore waive the fees. We do have to do an amendment to the land development code, which would need to be approved as a precursor to any sort of rezoning fee waiver. So staff is currently working on doing that analysis and getting that information put together for a future update to council. The other item is Tower of Compassion. I will hopefully be bringing this application to the commission at the June meeting for consideration of landmark status recommendation to the council. That is on my priority list for the June meeting. I did meet with Damien. Thank you. I'm like, starts with a P, ends with an A. Pachetta from History Colorado, the state historian's office, and we discussed the upcoming, theme for the sesquicentennial of the state, which is History for All, really focusing on indigenous and underrepresented communities in the state of Colorado. And one of the interesting and exciting things about the Tower of Compassion is if we do landmark it and it is approved for inclusion on the state register, which consensus is there's no reason to think it would not be. It would only be the fourth site in the state associated with the Asian American community in Colorado to be on the state register. So that is something that's, I think, really interesting, and also would be a very important thing for the city of Longmont. And so we're going to be working on that to move that forward as well. Survey plan, they're still working on it. Everyone's running behind right now, so I'll have a better update at the June meeting right now. And then earlier this week, I did complete our quadrennial CLG review with Lindsay Fluellen, whose name I always botch, at History Colorado. So we are, I think, good to go for the next 4 years on that one. So with that, I think that's all I have on my general report.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. One item I would note, in our January meeting, we did reschedule the July HPC to the 11th.
Yes.
So-
And so the challenge that we have found is,
It's the airport advisory.
yeah, the problem is we can't get into this room because we can't get into this space because there is another board that's in here. So well, let's see if we can find some other options that would be accessible for Longmont Public Media, since they have to record the meetings. But that is the challenge we're having, because we were looking at trying to do it on the 11th. We're just coming up with some logistical challenges. So,
And I can, from my perspective, if there's nothing, we don't have a COA or something to review, that's fine, but I don't want this survey plan to just kind of sort of keep slipping and slipping and slipping.
Nope.
So that's my biggest concern. Let's see. Commissioner Barnard?
Yeah, I guess, well, first, is it possible to meet at the museum, or?
I don't know the answer to that question, so Maria, if you could take a look, have you looked at that space?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
The 10th is open, I believe, July 10th, a Wednesday here.
Okay. What's,
I'll make sure.
There's a straw vote of anybody who has an issue, yeah, mostly heads.
Well, and I was gonna say, is there a possibility of doing it remotely on the 11th? Like we were doing at COVID?
No, I don't know if that system is set up.
That's what we've done now.
yeah, it's a little bit challenging to do now like that, but
Fair enough.
we'll take a look at some other venues and have an update at the June meeting.
Okay, and it sounded like people, that the 10th might be an option. Again, if we can get the survey plan on the agenda and keep that moving, I think that's something.
My goal is to have that as an item, at least have a serious update on the June meeting as well, so.
Right. All right, thanks.
Okay, we had a couple comments were made at the last meeting, and from you and from Steve and from the mayor, that there had been some contact with respect to an article this month in the paper, and I think you had said that the staff had been approached and was putting together some information. I think it's in the minutes. I'm going to read it to you.
Yeah, there was an article in the
Yep.
There was an article.
Times, yeah.
Yes, it was, yes, thank you for jogging my memory. It was regarding the Tower of Compassion.
Okay,
So-
but not about the month.
No,
Okay.
no, but it was generally about the
That was
tower.
what the article, that's what the discussion was with you.
I think it was actually more about the Kanemoto project,
Okay.
yeah. But that did come out, a handful of days after the hearing. That over the weekend, I think. Okay, any other questions for staff? Yep, Commissioner Jacoby?
Thank you. Yeah, so I did watch the last city council meeting online, and it sounds like, as far as the Historic East side, they said they were considering a code change so that all neighborhood groups could have a fee waived if they were to decide to pursue a conservation overlay. Is city maybe the mayor, maybe you could tell me, are you aware that the Historic Preservation Commission unanimously voted to recommend that several months ago? Okay, so the council already knows that then. That's what I was wondering, because that's, I think, important to know. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? No, all right. Let's see. Now we're into public invited to be heard for topics other than what we have on our agenda. And seeing only our one applicant in the audience and no public, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And then we'll move on to, or the public invited to be heard, sorry. Move on to our public hearing, which is a certificate of appropriateness for the Carlson Farm Building Relocation Plan. And I just want to disclose for the commission that Mr. Bestall and I are both on the Economic Development Partnership. We're both board members. I don't see that as being a conflict of interest in any way for myself to make it, to act on this board, but I want to make sure all the commissioners are aware of that, and if anyone has an objection. Okay, thank you. All right, so do we have a staff presentation then?
We do, so I'll be basically talking you through the report and the attachments in the absence of functioning screens
Okay.
For a PowerPoint presentation. So this really is more of a housekeeping type of COA, for lack of a better way of putting it. So the owner of the historic Carlson Farm has requested a certificate of appropriateness for building relocation of the historic buildings as was previously approved. So the original COA for the building relocation was approved in 2021, and it did expire last year. And the original COA did state that buildings be moved in relation to each other to the eastern portion of the lot as close as possible to the existing layout and spacing between the structures. So included in your packet is a final relocation plan to scale that was submitted as part of this application. And so effectively, relocation of these buildings is necessary for further development on the other portions of the site. The landmark status for the property was amended late 2022 to make sure to basically amend the landmark designation so that it only applied to the structures as opposed to the larger property. So the relocation plan submitted by Mr. Bestall, which is going to be attachment 2 in your packet, is I think satisfies the criteria that was established, or the condition that was established by the commission back in 2021, that the buildings be relocated basically relative to where they currently are. And the relocation plan, I think, shows that very well. So with that, Mr. Bestall is available to answer any questions that you may have of him, but otherwise we'll stand by for any questions or discussion from the commission.
Okay, any questions for staff? No? Okay. Mr. Bestall, do you have anything you'd like to add, or it's your opportunity?
Just that we're excited about where we are now, and that I was thinking that the second certificate of appropriateness, which was a year later roughly, I guess.
About a microphone? You can't hear me?
I'll speak up.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe I just need to get under the cone of silence here. I think, no, I was just going to say we're excited about where we are, and we have building permits pending the relocation to where they need to go, as you all directed us to, and they conform to that. It really was my mistake, probably, because I was thinking the second certificate of appropriateness still covered us. And we've got, I think we have 6 months left on that, but I would appreciate extending the 21 one, so we have another 2 years. These things always take a little longer than expected. We're in the preliminary plat process. We're actually at the final plat, so we think our next submittal will subdivide the property, and we've done all the infrastructure, so things have been moving along. We ran in place for a while because we're tied to the fourth filing, the Wallace edition filing, and that's good because the infrastructure will interlock, and we've been coordinating with staff on that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, any board discussion here? Commissioner
I'd
Barnett?
make a motion to renew the certificate of appropriateness per the staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the extension by Commissioner Barnett and, seconded by Commissioner Norton. Any further discussion? No? Then all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None? So motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming in. Okay, let's see. We have new business commission interviews. We have an update on a potential new commissioner.
We do have one applicant for Historic Preservation Commission this application cycle. With that, we need to establish a review committee that will meet sometime in May and make a recommendation to City Council regarding this particular applicant. So I will turn it over to the commission to discuss who would like to be.
So is this a thing where you need basically 2 people?
Pretty much, yeah.
volunteer? So it's not a real meeting, but it's, okay. All right. And I'm going to unvolunteer myself because I'm not going to be here. So now I need two volunteers. Okay, Commissioner Barnett?
I think I can do it as well.
Okay. Commissioner Barnett and Commissioner Norton.
Great.
Okay, volunteer, thank you for volunteering.
We don't, if you want to do it, I'll second. I'd be happy to let you do it.
Okay, so that'd be just something that you would coordinate?
Correct.
Jennifer?
I will coordinate with both Commissioners Barnard and Norton, and can very well be something we could do via Teams or something like that as well. So we'll make it as smooth as possible and efficient as possible for everyone. So I'll reach out probably Monday on that one for you.
I feel like last time we did this, you guys had some pre-written questions. Is that still how we're?
I will have to go back into the records and see how we did it last time.
I could see if I have anything too.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a little scorecard or something, actually.
Yeah, I want to say there was a
Yeah.
score sheet, so I'll have to go back into our records and take a look at how we handled things previously and get with you on Monday for that.
Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you, and thank you, Commissioners Barnett and Norton, for volunteering. All right, let's see, we had a discussion last month about solar and historic properties, and it looks like we've got some more information in the packet. So Jennifer, you want to walk us through that?
Sure. So, again, as we discussed at the last meeting, you requested some additional samples of guidelines relating to solar systems in historic districts. We did find two, I think, good ones. One, the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions has actually some sample guidelines, so that's a handy-dandy cheat sheet there as well. And then the City of Denver also has some really good ones as well. So I included the section of the Denver guidelines relating to solar sustainability, and specifically solar panels. And I also included that particular sample guidelines from the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions. So that is for your reference, and if that is something we want to, either of those we would like to adapt to meet our requirements and put the City of Longmont seal on, I'm happy to put that together for consideration at a future meeting for formal guidelines.
Thanks. I ran through these. I didn't notice anything that necessarily contradicted, right, one or the other. I think they're both really good, and a really good foundation that we could use. I would probably be in favor of picking one and just saying use one of the two, and to avoid sort of any potential confusion. That would be my sort of thought. But interested to hear if anybody else has an opinion or has any comments about the proposed guidelines. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you. My impression was that the guideline, that disappeared. The Denver guidelines seemed a little more specific to me, but very amenable to what we would be doing, and I would lean more towards using the Denver guidelines, I think, than the others, which were more generic, which, again, if we want to pursue it, to leave more flexibility, maybe that the guidelines from the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions, that looked a little more generic to me if we wanted to embrace more flexibility. But I thought the Denver guidelines were very good, and to borrow a brain, I mean, they worked on it. I'd be happy to use the Denver guidelines.
So if we wanted to sort of formally adopt one of these, we'd do that as part of as a public hearing process here, or?
I'll have to take a look at that because they are, the commission should be the one adopting the guidelines. It's just a matter of, it wouldn't necessarily be an ordinance, it may just very well be via a motion. So let me get with Jeremy and determine the most legally defensible way of doing that, and I'll get back to you in the June meeting.
Okay.
Chairman?
Yep. Commissioner Barnett?
I think we have two possibilities here. One is a kind of a generic, one is this is a good starting place for local preservation commissions. Okay, so that's what it is, a starting place. And then the other one is a big city decision, which gets into a lot of detail. So I guess my question would be, can we take a look at Louisville or some other comparable city to Longmont, which may not want to go in the detail that Denver did, may not be the same issues as Denver,
So
maybe more like our type issues.
So realistically, there aren't a lot of places that have adopted specific guidelines for dealing with solar panels and other sustainability efforts. It's something that's really being looked at a lot more now, but I did have my associate planner, Melanie, she did a lot of the research on this, and these were the two she found in our area. Boulder has some, but not quite as specific.
Not as specific as.
I would have to go back and look at it. They were a little bit more global. Sustainability.
Not as global as the Secretary of the Interior ones?
I think they were about that. I would have to go back and take a look at them. These were really the two kind of most specific to solar guideline sets that she was able to find.
Commissioner Fenster?
Yeah. It occurs to me that we might be well-served if we adopted a set of guidelines as a template and then worked from there. Then we would have something to go on, and it would advance the cause at least through step one. Because right now, we're just talking about having something, but we haven't put anything into our lexicon.
And again, I'll check with legal and get their opinion as far as the best way to go about this. From my thinking is it may, because this is such an evolving area, that it might serve us well to adopt something that's a bit broader, and as technology comes along and different things are available, incorporate them accordingly. But in terms of how guidelines, sometimes if you get excessively specific, they can sometimes become cumbersome and very difficult to implement and apply.
Yeah, I actually liked I'm going to get it right here. I can't find.
NAPC, we'll just use the
NAPC,
acronym.
thank you. Okay, perfect. There it is, NAPC. I liked their guidelines because they felt to me like specific enough, right? They were clear. Primary elevations, this is our recommendation. Secondary elevations, right? What you can do on the structures. What if you can do if it's detached, and then what not to do under any circumstance is really clear too. I think that is maybe as important as anything, right? Just making it really clear what is not recommended. And I kind of felt like that. I mean, for the so. Tiny little aside, I spent some time on a planning commission a bunch of years ago that spent an inordinate amount of time making a wind turbine regulation in response to one person's installation of a wind turbine. And then we never had another application in the next 10 years around wind turbines. And so, I think you can get too far into the weeds with some of this stuff. If we have a good set of guidelines that pretty clearly say this is the intent and this is really what you can't do, then it leaves enough sort of, the staff can make a determination if it looks like it's pretty easily falls within this, they can grant the COA. If staff has a sense that, well, this might be a little sticky, I don't know, I'd rather have the commission, we're going to feel more comfortable bringing it to the commission, then that's part of why we're here as a commission, to sort of make a judgment call as to whether it's appropriate or not. So my leaning would be towards using the NACP standard as a good guideline, and then not worrying too much about weeds and details. That's my 2 cents. You wanna?
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Sibley.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I liked theirs as well, and I really liked that it called out the different types of systems. That's what we have now, basically, but to your point, there could be more, so that, to my mind, if it labels 3, that means, hey, if there's something else out there, bring it up. So I kind of liked how that was set, so I agree.
Commissioner Barnett?
Yeah, could you ask the staff to look at the Breckenridge ordinance that was adopted? Okay. So I think the balance here is between historic and green. And, find it, and that's and just a very, 30-second search. This was a big discussion in Breckenridge between the two, and they wanted both, and they tried to figure out how to do that. I think it was finally adopted. Didn't have time to find that out, but it was proposed and expected to be adopted in the article I saw.
Okay,
I'll send you that article too.
Great.
Oops. Mayor Peck?
Thank you. Just my input. I would think that with the NAPC, as technology evolves, they would be more apt to give guidelines, whereas a municipality that made up their own would be struggling with the technology as well, and maybe not put us in that position down the road. So.
Thank you. Let's see, Commissioner Jacoby?
I think, yes, both sets of guidelines are very good. And the idea of approaching it with more general guidelines, especially since we're just starting, makes a lot of sense. My one concern that I had, which is why I was thinking about the Denver guidelines, was they were a little more specific and restrictive. For example, just the idea of setting solar panels back from the eaves a certain distance in the front of a house. They addressed that. The NA whatever did not really address that. And if someone came to us as, with a proposal, if we adopted the more general guidelines, but we would like to see, say, the solar panels back a little bit, to add it after they come to us with the application would seem more difficult to me than if they came, we had that already in the guidelines, and we said we are willing to waive that because of whatever circumstances. That's the main reason I was thinking the Denver guidelines were better, because they were more complete, and given that kind of circumstance, it would be easier, I think, to waive a guideline than to add something at the 11th hour. But I agree. I mean, the technology is changing. To have overly specific guidelines is not necessary.
Well, if this is something that needs to get back into, staff's court for a little bit to see and come back with a recommendation of how this would get implemented, maybe that's also an opportunity for commissioners. You want to take a little bit closer look at the Denver, and like you said, Commissioner Jacoby, if there's, if there are 3 thing or, some small number of extra pieces that we like, we potentially could do a hybrid without. I just don't want to get into something that's just so crazily detailed, right? We don't need another demolition ordinance exercise. We just. That cured me. But it's a fair point, right? Yeah. Okay, great. All right, any other discussion? No? All right, well, thank you for bringing that, that's great. I mean, I think it's really encouraging that there's something out there that I think gets us on some pretty good footing without a lot of effort. So
Great.
thanks for finding that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see, now we're just down to the end of the show here. Any comments from commissioners? No? Okay. Our city council representative, Mayor Peck, any? Nope? Okay, all right, well, there you go. With that, then, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I heard the one closer, so I'm going to go with motion by Commissioner Fenster and seconded by Commissioner Norton by a hair. All those in favor? Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming out for the evening. Thanks again.
That was great. Thank you.